Hey, welcome to NDI November. This is the second week of NDI November 2023. This is our fourth annual NDI November. I'm Gary Batan. I'm the host of NDI November, and today I'm doing the show. No guests coming in. Today's show is about sports, video sports production, how NDI can help you with your production. We can help you do it cheaper, do it better, do it faster, add more value, add more capabilities, add more features. So we're going to jump right into the show. How is NDI technology used in sports and event production? Basically, for streaming and recording games, capture more action with multiple camera angles, easily add other cameras, add branding and graphics, including scoreboards, and add instant replay. So I'm assuming some of you out there who are watching the show are actually doing sports. So if you're producing sports, I want to hear about it. So just give me a little in the comments thing. Tell me the team or the whatever, if you're doing the Ohio State Buckeyes or the New York Mets or the New York Islanders, let us know the team that you're producing sports for. Maybe it's a high school, maybe it's a semi-pro league, maybe it's an Olympic event, whatever. Tell us the kind of sports and what you're presenting, and the team's going to give me that list, and we're going to give you a little shout out. So if you're working on a sports production, tell us the team you're working with, and we'll give you a little shout out. All right, let's jump back in. Advantages of using NDI, and we're going to go in depth on this, folks, but this is the 10,000 foot view on why we love NDI. The flexibility, it enables flexible camera setups. It's easier to capture dynamic and creative camera angles during sporting events. It's scalable. That's my favorite about this whole thing. When you're in an NDI world and you want to add another camera, it's as simple as adding a network camera or just plugging a camera into a network jack anywhere within your facility. You're not climbing up in the rafters and running SDI cables every time you want another camera. And also, it's cost effective. It's easy to add, easy to scale. And I see they brought that up there, so I want to put this out there for at the very beginning of the show. And we had a great show with Laurent on Netgear earlier this week. These Netgear 4250 AV switches are optimized for NDI. They give you a level of stability, easy setup, scalability, expandability, and just an incredibly robust switch that anyone can operate easily on their own. You don't have to have an IT degree, but you're going to get the greatest, most stable video you can over NDI. It's our #1 tech support solution. If you're looking about putting NDI in your facility for sports, make sure you put a Netgear switch in there to anchor the whole thing. All right. How NDI makes sports production better. I want to reach out to the team. Has anyone given us a sports name at this point?
University of Cincinnati.
University of Cincinnati, the Bearcats. Way to go. You're #1. Thank you very much for jumping in, guys. All right. I've got a list of about 5 or 6 things now. Now, this is a list that we talk to a lot of our customers who do sports, and we ask them, what has NDI made capable for you that you couldn't do before? And they gave us a whole bunch of things, and then I put them in the order that I thought was a great order to make a list on. So this is my list of how NDI makes sports production better, and I really think you're going to find this is the meat and potatoes of today's show, folks. So #1, color matching. If you've got 3 or more cameras put around a basketball court, an ice hockey rink, outdoors, indoors, wherever it's going to be lighting, natural lighting being affected, you at any given time will have your cameras look differently because of the ambient light in the room. Being able to, on the fly, log in and control and match those colors so that the green field looks green or the blue logo on the center of the basketball court looks the same blue for every single camera angle is so important. And this is one that in the old days before NDI, someone's going to have to log into each camera individually or actually walk up to that camera and start messing with the settings to get it all right. And a TD would be like a little more green, a little more blue, a little more U, a little more gamma, what have you. Well, now you can actually do that all from a central spot. So you don't have to worry about that. You did your test run at 5 o'clock and it was a little bit sunny, and now the game starts at 7 and it's dark outside, so you don't have the ambient light. The color correcting of the cameras over NDI is phenomenal for sports production. If your team wears blue and orange uniforms, they should look blue and orange in every single camera. And that's the beauty of color matching with NDI. Next one is so simple and easy, but people forget about it. Tally. We have customers. In fact, The NBA is using Bird Dog P100 cameras for their ref cameras. So when the ref comes over and he's talking about the call that he made and why he made it, that camera is a Bird Dog camera, and it's via NDI. Well, one of the important things is the ref needs to know when to start talking. So the tally light goes red and you know you're on air. Same thing if you're an announcer, if you're a ref, or if you're just doing someone's doing an interview in a room that's for the talent who's off to the side. You can do it without a live camera, and the tally tells the announcer or the interviewer or the person on camera time to start talking. I use camera lights. That's how when I see that light, that camera over there turn red, I know that I have to turn to it and start talking. Haha, I turned first. I'm sorry. What can I tell you? Sometimes I jump the gun. If you've watched our shows, you know I do that. But right now it's red, and I'll wait till it turns green. And when it turns green, I'll turn and face the other camera because I'll know I'm not on that camera anymore. The other advantage of NDI is the single cable run. And it's a single cable run that not only passes video and tally and control, but PoE as well. What does that mean for sports? Well, now it means you don't have to put the camera near an outlet. If you're a school or a place where you have people walking around, you don't have to worry about power cables that people are going to trip over. It's a single Cat6 cable, which is a thin, flexible camera. So you can run that cable right up into a goalpost pylon or up to the top of the basketball court. Now, if you look at this picture right here that we have, if you bring it up full screen for a second, that middle camera at the hockey rink, that is not NDI. It's a great little camera, but you can see it's got the two big cables in it for power and one for SDI. Well, the new version of that Marshall camera that's come out is NDI, and now you just have a single Cab6 cable plugged right into it. Just makes the whole world easier. Like I said, with PoE, it's a low voltage. You can power the camera with it. You can run it, hundreds of feet, not a problem. And here's a little clip of the Marshall guys gave us of actually, those pylon cameras. You see them all the time. And in high school, you can have one of these if you want. And just think that camera could be embedded anywhere. So really cool, really fun, and we'd like to. I think it's great that Marshall now has the NDI in their pylon lipstick cameras. Just great job by the Marshall folks. The next thing is that you can add multi-view anywhere. Now this is real important. Multiviewers is basically, where you can bring up every camera on a single screen, and you can have all the cameras there, one camera there. You can record a camera or not. You can do what you need to do. Well, sometimes you need a director who's going to be directing a show who's got to be looking at all the cameras, and that might not be room in the studio for him to be there. He could be in another area looking at those cameras, as can your coaching staff so they can see every angle from the show, as can an overflow room if you've got some people, in another area waiting to get in. Like let's say you're doing a wrestling tournament and you've got 3 or 4 matches going on in the mats, and you've got another room where the players who are going to be up start getting ready in the locker room. You can put a multi-viewer with a screen up there so that people can be seeing the matches that are going on while they're going on. Just a cool concept that just makes displaying your sports. You can put anywhere you have a network jack, you can now put a monitor, and that monitor could be a single camera, it could be the output from your switcher, or it could be all your cameras, or any combination thereof with a multi-viewer. And tagging on the multi-viewer to take it to the next level, let's talk about you can use NDI to record ISO. Now, why is that important? Well, any switcher, NDI switcher, has the ability to record to itself, but when you have a switcher like a TriCaster, or you're running vMix or OBS, you have Wirecast gear, it's a computer. And it's a computer with I/O and pathways that data can overwhelm it. Well, when you could take that recording out of your TriCaster and have a dedicated device to record, it means the TriCaster doesn't have to work on all that recording. It also means you can set up any computer or any device on the network that can record NDI, and it could be in the system. So it doesn't have to be in that studio that can be crowded. You can set up a device like the new Cube R1 from KiloView, which can record up to 4 4K or 9 HD streams simultaneously, and that could be sitting anywhere in the network. So if you're a school, that could be sitting in your main TV studio, it could be sitting in a lab, it could be sitting in a closet. Anywhere that's got a network jack, you can plug that in, and now you can control what you're recording and record all your different camera angles for your coaching staff or your post-production team to use. Now, I think we got a little video clip of the Cube, so let's run that now.
Introducing the KiloView Cube R1. With this device, you can capture up to 9 channels of NDI in stunning 1080 60p or up to 4 channels in 4K. What sets the Cube R1 apart is its versatility, accommodating multiple formats of NDI, including full bandwidth NDI and NDI HX. Connectivity is made simple with the Cube R1. It's equipped with 2 high-speed 10GB SFP Plus ports. KiloView has made their own storage modules that have been tested and approved for use with the Cube R1, available now. Plus, the Cube R1 offers compression options in formats like H.264 and H.265. Get your KiloView Cube R1 today at Videoguys.com.
The number one way to take your sports production up to the next level, I like to use the old Spinal Tap, joke that we're going to turn it up to 11. If you want to turn your sportscasts up to 11, the number one thing you do is you add instant replay. And with NDI, you can add instant replay. And with an NDI instant replay device, like a 3Play or Connected Cam Studio or a Simply Live product, you now don't have to have that instant replay person being in the studio where we're producing the main show. He could be back in the main studio, he could be in a classroom, he could be in any room that has network interfaces, and now he could be operating your instant replay for your production, which you can add at any time and put it in any room. The instant replay gives you multiviewer, it gives you the ability to play back the scenes, and that's how you really take your video production to 11. Instant replay. The other thing where NDI really comes in handy is setting up outdoor cameras. With NDI and PoE, use simple 1 Cab 6 cable, home run cable, no junction boxes, long runs, no worry about power, no worry about rain, and you can have cameras. Now, these cameras right here, I believe, are Panasonic outdoor cameras and some different things that you could see. But we also found out that when we were at Citi Field doing a little event, there's some bird dog outdoor cameras hanging from the rafters to give you different views of the game and different angles. So it was really fun to be at an event, to look up and say, hey, I know that camera. Let's check out that camera. And lo and behold, we checked it out, and it turned out that one of our dealers had actually gotten those cameras for Citi Field to put in there, but we weren't allowed to talk about it at the time because it was a hush-hush project. But when the camera's sitting out there with a Bird Dog logo, no one can stop me from talking about it. So kudos to Bird Dog and the Bird Dog team. They're in the middle of that picture on getting their cameras into Citi Field and a lot of baseball parks, by the way. Did I say let's go Mets? Let's go Mets. Real-time graphics and overlays. Well, I said that instant replay takes your production to 11. I'm going to change my mind. Instant replay is taking your production to 12. What takes it to 11 is graphics and your scorecard. So you can see we got a little scorecard logo go over there. Pretty cool. I didn't even know we could do that. So that's very interesting. So you can see that we set it up. And you can also add, real sports graphics at your fingertips with Flowix. Are these coming from the Viz Flowix engine, guys? They are. The Viz Flowix engine is a new graphics package that comes by the makers of VizRT. They're the guys who own, TriCaster as well. It's a really cool package. And I believe if you buy a TriCaster, by the way, you get 6 months free of Flowix. Is that correct? 3 months free of Flowix, but it's a really cool graphics package. We've switched to Flowix for our graphics here. And once again, you don't have to be NDI to use Flowix, but it sure helps. It sure makes it easier and sure makes it work better. So NDI, and once again, the good cool part about that is you could have your graphics operator through NDI being anywhere in the facility. They don't have to be in the control room. When you think about, if you think about sports, now let's say you're a guy my age, you think about sports. You're thinking about when you went to the stadium, there were all these big 18-wheelers just filled with sports production gear. And that's how they produced the show. Well, now it's going to be a couple of those little Amazon vans running around to do the whole same thing plus everything else. One van's going to have your main switching, one van might be your graphics and your instant replay, and another van might be your whole audio team, and that's what it's all about. NDI and IP video and things like the TriCaster have just made it so much more smaller and compact to produce things like this so that we have the trucks. And guys, we talk about NDI, but there's other technologies coming like REMI and remote production and cloud stuff that at some point we probably won't even need those Sprinter vans. We'll just need people to show up with, a backpack with a laptop in it, and they'll be able to produce the whole show. So this is where the world's coming from, but NDI was the first step, and NDI graphics are a great way to take your sports production to the next level. We have a case study now of implementing NDI in sports production. The gang at Harvard worked with Bird Dog, and I think we have a video clip for this, right, guys? So we're going to roll this video clip and take it away.
My name is Imri Halevi. I'm an Assistant Athletic Director for Multimedia and Production at Harvard University Athletics. We have the largest athletic department in the country with 42 Division I teams. We produce and broadcast almost all home games for those teams, which comes out to about 300 broadcasts a year. We produce the broadcast for ESPN+, ESPN's direct-to-consumer platform, as well as local and regional TV networks. Historically, we've used baseband video a lot. We've run fiber optic cable and copper cable between our facilities, trying to get our camera feeds and audio feeds from place to place. But over the last few years, we've really started relying more on IP technology, from Dante for audio and to NDI for video. Historically, we've had our usual baseband SDI cameras connected to NDI converters and ran those to our control rooms. But this year we've decided to try cameras with built-in NDI capabilities, and that's where BirdDog has come in. We've purchased a few of the BirdDog A200 cameras, which allow us to mount them permanently at our soccer facilities as well as other facilities, and control them remotely as well. So we can sit at our hockey control room or our basketball control room and remotely control these A200 cameras, get the feeds into our switcher, into our replay system, place our commentators wherever they need to be on campus, and have them watch those feeds using NDI as well. BirdDog has been amazing to work with. We actually had some issues connecting our cameras to our campus network, and BirdDog was there. They've been on the phone with us, on chat with us, on email with us, day and night, making sure that their cameras can work with our network and making sure that any problems we have are solved right away. Looking ahead, we're really looking to utilize a broader range of BirdDog cameras. We just purchased our first P200 camera. We're looking at the 4K line as well, and definitely some of those mini decoders to connect to more of our monitors around the facility. Our goal is to rely on NDI more and more, and the best way to do that without using NDI converters for SDI cameras is just using cameras with built-in NDI, and BirdDog has a very large collection of those that we're looking forward to try out.
Well, that was a pretty cool video, and those folks at Harvard are pretty smart. I know it was a long video, but I thought it covered so many things. But you can see there how Harvard's using TriCasters, instant replay, NDI PTZ cameras, NDI converters from BirdDog, outdoor cameras, indoor cameras. It's just amazing what you do with your workflow. And I want to remind you that just because Harvard's doing it on a grand level doesn't mean you can't do it if you're a D3 school like Quinnipiac, or maybe you're a, and I don't want to put Quinnipiac because they might not be D3. I'm just thinking of a smaller school in the Northeast. So if you're from Quinnipiac and you're on the call, please don't skewer me and tell me you're really D2 or D1. I just meant to bring them up as a smaller school. High school football, high school sports, you can use NDI to lay your stuff out better and easier. And what I want to stress is, if you are a school looking to convert your sports production to NDI, give us a call. We can help you spec out a system. We have dealers across the country who can work with you to help you spec out a system and get you installed. But do not think that you are too small to go to NDI for your sports productions. In fact, a small sports production can grow to a much bigger production to cover more sports much easier if you build your solutions around the NDI technology. Next thing I want to go to is how they're using MMA. The MMA, mixed martial arts, is using PTZ cameras. And it's funny because if you see in this picture, you'll see the PTZ camera is facing the announcers. But you know what? If someone went down in that corner and they were grounding and pounding them, you could turn that camera to face the action and get a little close-up action of those fighters, just dismantling each other. So do we have another video clip for this one, guys? That's just something to talk about with that there. Cool. PTZ cameras being used by mixed martial arts. Also, Pepperdine did a great job with Canon on some NDI PTZ stuff. Now this we have a complete, I think it's like a 15 or a 20-minute video, 5-minute video? 5-minute video. So we're not going to play it in the show. I think the Harvard one at 2 minutes is long enough. But after the show, if you stick around for the show, I think we're going to run like a little commercial on NDI November, maybe another little clip, and we will be playing the 5-minute clip from Canon. It's a great clip on how they're using NDI in their workflows with their cameras for sports video production. But examples how you can use it for anything from baseball, football, soccer, horse racing, swimming. NDI is just so versatile. It can allow you to bring your sports coverage anywhere and to any sport that you're on. And I was talking about, race horses. Well, how about race cars? Formula X is now using NDI, so that they're actually putting NDI cameras in the cars and along the stadium using wireless NDI with the folks at Kiloview using their converters. Just a lot of cool stuff going on. That's so amazing what people are doing with NDI technology. Here's the one I kind of hinted at. You can leverage it for different sports, indoor, outdoor sports, any shape field, any shape stadium. Running NDI, running Cat5 cables is a lot cheaper and easier than running power and separate SDI cables. You can customize it for all the different sports you have. You can get cameras that are responsive enough to cover hockey or something that's slower pace, like putting them on the greens for a golf tournament. It's adaptable. It can accommodate whatever the specifics are of your production. Like we said, you can break your production to be in multiple rooms as the producers, or in one big studio, however you're going to do it. Excuse me. Sorry about that, team. So we just think that NDI, once you put it into your system for one sport, you'll be using it for all your sports. Speaking of all your sports, here's a slide that we've done several shows on sports production. Just an idea of what you got going on here and how to lay out your cameras. If you haven't done a sport yet, we're trying to give you a basic layout of what it would look like. So if you start with the basketball court, we've got one camera behind each basket, a camera at the center. And then we've got, if you see, there's an over-the-shoulder camera. And that camera, we would call that the hero camera. That camera is with an operator that's going to follow, your best player on the field. Most basketball teams, you'll see that the game, they tend to isolate on one or two players is one of the videos they cut to. We've got a sports field, a rectangular field. I believe this is a soccer game. It could be football. It could be wherever you have it. It's, we got the pylons in there. So you can have your cameras there with your goalpost cameras as well as cameras on the side. Baseball, put it behind, the first and third base, and as well as center field behind the catcher, and you've got the whole field covered. And on a hockey rink, you got to be behind the goals, and then it's center ice. So just some ideas of what you could do. You can see we've got all our different streaming mixers in there, from JVC to Wirecast Pro to TriCasters to 3Play and Instant Replay. So just an idea of the kind of stuff you can do with the sports that you have. Before we end the show, I want to run down my top tips, because this is really the bread and butter of the show. If you're catching the show at the end, rewind back to the beginning and watch all this stuff, and let's go through the top tips to make sports production better with NDI. Number 1, camera matching and color correction. Number 2, tally for the refs, coaches, or announcers. Much easier to use lipstick POV cams with a single cable. You can add multi-view anywhere. You can use NDI to record all your camera ISO streams. You can add NDI-based instant replay anywhere in the network. And most of all, a single Cat6 cable for everything: video, tally, control, PoE, power of Ethernet, and more. If you're producing sports and you're not using NDI, now's the time to work NDI into your workflow. I want to remind you don't have to go all NDI. You can mix NDI with your baseband, HDMI, and SDI cabling. It's not an all or nothing type thing, but the one thing that I always recommend is that you use a Netgear M4250 AV switch. If you build your NDI network and production around that switch, you're going to have much more success. All right, that wraps up our show for today. We're going to have a really cool interview with Matt Baker from Visua. They did a whole sports. This is an actual case study that they put together, that the video is really cool, where he talks about what he did. Now, I know in the beginning of the show, I asked if we had any teams. Did any other teams chime in, or just the one? All right, well, that's the way it goes sometimes, but I wanted to add that little survey opportunity. So that's all I've got for the show. I want to thank you, and that's it for this week of NDI November. When we're coming up next week, I want to let everyone know there was a schedule change. I believe we're flip-flopping the case study. Oh, the show's starting earlier, correct. So the show's starting at 2:30 rather than 3 o'clock. Dr. Cross is the big star who we're bringing in for the final show, and his schedule got a little clip, so he had to go at 3, so we moved everything up, I think, a half hour, but it's all going to be great. It's all going to be good, and we're looking forward to that next week. Stay tuned. We're going to show you a little commercial about NDINovember.com. If you didn't sign up already, sign up. They're going to be giving away free gifts and stuff like that and swag. So, folks, that's it for me, and I'll see you next week. I'll be back on Tuesday. Correct, guys? See you Tuesday, 3 o'clock. NDI November. Take it away with Matt Baker from Visua after the commercials.